Ross will play a Scalding Tarn, very quickly sacrifice that, so he'll fall down to at least 16, as he'll play a copy of Thing in the Ice.
If I'm not mistaken, Ross also has a Ceremonious Rejection in hand, so he could sit on his heels, right, and just try to play this longer game, but against a deck like Ironworks, that's just not feasible, and you can't hold up a counterspell when you have no pressure on your opponent. So Ross wisely plays the Thing in the Ice, but gets it pounded by a Galvanic Blast.
Collins is thinking about playing Psy, but he's going to slow himself down a little bit here, as he will take a moment to cut Ross's deck and then think a little bit more about his turn.
I'm not sure that he has a land to play. He might be thinking on whether or not he should activate Terrarion here to try to find a land to be able to play a 1-mana follow-up.
Well, there's Psy, so he's going to keep it simple. Just play Psy, Master Thopterus, and simply pass the turn back. Psy is a huge addition for this deck. Whenever you cast an artifact spell, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. You can pay 1 and a blue and sacrifice 2 artifacts to draw a card. In combination with Ironworks and many other things in this deck, it's very, very, very powerful.
Here you see Ross drawing a second copy of Thing in the Ice here. That's going to be hugely important for beating Psy, which is a big brick wall for this Is That Phoenix deck.
Now, the scariest thing here, if you're Ross, is you just hope you don't die this turn, as Collins will draw a card. Picked up another copy of Galvanic Blast, which is a pretty nice draw step there for Austin.
Ross had the out of using Surgical Extraction on the Galvanic Blast to protect this Thing in the Ice while Austin was tapped out. Getting punished here for not doing so, and I don't blame him. That Surgical Extraction has a lot of value at stopping the actual Ironworks combo.
Yeah, I'd be shocked if that's how he wants to use Surgical Extraction in this matchup. As it stands, Galvanic Blast has ended up being very, very, very good. We have seen some players play Lightning Bolt in that spot instead of Galvanic Blast. Collins opting to go with the 4 damage spell. Though it is conditional, it's not a hard condition for this deck to meet as we head back over to Merriam.
Yeah, 3 artifacts. That's a walk in the park, fam.
Faithless Looting now here for Ross. One of the most powerful cards modern will be played. Lightning Bolt and Faithless Looting are the draws.
Second bolt there from Ross is going to allow him to double bolt the side to contain those Thopters, as well as a Faithless Looting letting him discard this Arclight Phoenix here. Looking pretty good for Ross as long as he has that second red source of mana.
Ross is going to search up a Steam Vents with the Polluted Delta. He'll fall down to 10. Life total, not really all that important if you're Merriam here. They're normally going to kill you with a combo finish unless they generate a ton of Thopters, in which case you're probably already screwed anyway. So him going down to 10 is not the end of the world. As now here is a bolt. There's another bolt.
Wow, Ross's last 2 cards are Ceremonious Rejection and Surgical Extraction.
That's actually pretty good.
That's pretty good last 2 cards here. Clearing off that side and having an attacker for 3.
Well, this is what we talked about in the pregame show, right? This is part of the reason you like this deck. Ross gets to see so many cards. There's Surgical. Surgical looks like it's going to go after Psy, which, okay, I'm down with that.
Yeah, taking care of the side during the draw step actually gives Austin 1 more draw phase to draw a Psy and get that potentially stripped out of his hand from Surgical. A little trick with Surgical Extraction and cards like it, for those of you who are unaware.
So here's my fear right now if I'm Ross. I'm at 8. And I probably have to counter the Scrap Trawler if it gets played, because if Scrap Trawler's on the battlefield along with the Thopter, I could just lose the race.
Oh yeah, no, I was gonna cut you off and say no, you counter it.
But then I might just be dead to an Ironworks if it shows up.
Yeah, but that's like next turn's problem. You know,
that's a problem for future Ross.
Yeah, current Ross's problem is that he has to beat a Scrap Trawler.
Well, Austin Collins is going to start his turn by sacrificing Terrarion. And he will get some mana here. We'll see what colors he wants. It's going to be 2 green. Draw a card. Darksteel Citadel is what he's found. And he's going to play an Ancient Stirrings with 1 green floating. So top 5 cards here for Collins. Terrarion, Ichor, Wellspring. There's Ironworks. Now Ross has got to make a real decision.
Yeah, now I think it's possible you just... I mean, even with the Buried Ruin in play, though, I think, like, there's enough redundancy from Austin's side that I think you actually just have to counter the Scrap Trawler still. And this was the problem I was running into while playing the Is That Phoenix deck, especially against things like Ironworks combo. They just have so much redundancy that they're just naturally resilient to interaction.
It's worth mentioning that Buried Ruin that's out there on the battlefield, because Ross's clock is not particularly fast, which means that Austin isn't in that big of a rush to,
Right.
I got a Buried Ruin right now. It's just not, it's not the way that it is. Here's an opt here from Merriam. Top card will become the bottom one now, and he'll draw. Picked up a copy Manamorphose. That could be anything. Part of me feels like Ross is supposed to fire this off right now.
Yeah. I mean, the hinge of this game was definitely the second thing in the ice getting killed with a peeled Galvanic Blast.
Yeah.
That was that was the thing that changed the texture of the whole game.
It'll be an attack here for 3. And Ross will pass the turn back. So now if you're Merriam, you have to hope for the best and hope that things don't get too hairy here. But if you're Austin Collins, you got to be feeling pretty good about your situation because you can tap out for Ironworks, have some amount of confidence that it can resolve. Because like what I'd like to do this turn, and Austin doesn't have another land to play, is I'd love to play Ironworks without using Buried Ruin, then sacrifice a Wellspring, draw a card, use Buried Ruin, get back Scrap Trawler, and the game's going to end. So Austin's going to be a little bit more cautious as now he's drawn a copy of Grove of the Burn Willows. Has 1 green mana floating. That'll be the land drop for the turn. Still will have to use the Buried Ruin to actually deploy the Ironworks. So I'm not convinced he'll do it this turn. And now I know he won't because there's no mana in his pool. And he's going to attack for 1 and pass the turn back.
Yeah, I mean, he's not under a ton of pressure from Ross, so I think waiting is fine. Ooh, Ross getting really greedy here, forgetting perhaps that you can just, I don't know, cast Arclight Phoenix.
Well, I think this is better because if he finds a 1-mana counterspell, like he just did, in Spell Pierce, he can play on. Because, like, is he realistic winning the game if he plays Arclight Phoenix this turn? No. You know he has Ironworks.
Well, he doesn't know Austin has Ironworks.
Yes, he does. He's stirring into it. Yeah, he knows. So I like this play.
Fine. He got super lucky, though. Peeled the Spell Pierce.
Got to give yourself the best chance to win.
That's fair. That's fair.
Like, this is the downfall for Austin for waiting for a turn. Now Austin drew a land.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Now there's Ironworks. Now if you're Ross, pretty sure you have to pierce this.
Yeah, that just shuts on the Buried Ruin for a turn. So now Ross can, well,
he can peel to a Braid.
Yeah, peel on a Braid is nice. Wow, I was going to say that might be the most aggressive attack I've ever seen. Ross could just go bolt you cantrip spell and kill you if you attack.
Yeah, that's true. There are some bad things that could happen if Austin does attack. I'm curious to see how deep Austin wants to go this turn. Looks like he's going to start by sacrificing your Wellspring. Because he can win this turn on this battlefield.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I mean, he's sacrificing an equity out of 2 Scrap Trawlers, getting back 2 1-mana cantrips.
Sacrifice another artifact, found a forest. Yeah, so he just picked up a couple of lands here.
Yeah, I mean, with the Buried Ruin in hand on the battlefield, I think waiting a turn is a little bit better. But I mean, that's again, I will always defer to the Ironworks pilot.
Oh, he's gonna go to the spine.
Spine of Ishsaw? Oh man,
how? The spine's gonna come down. This is a new addition to Ironworks decks. It's a one of as this deck continues to evolve. And the spine allows you to destroy target permanent. Now there's an attack. You're a little worried about this attack?
If he draws a cantrip into a lightning bolt, the game ends. There's a Manamorphose.
All right.
If he peels lightning bolt or a cantrip into a lightning bolt.
No! No!
Oh my god! Oh my god! He did it! Oh my god! He did it! What am I doing?
No! Oh! Oh, you called it! You called it! Oh, Ross Merriam gonna win this game and match over Austin Collins 2-1.